The following presentation of the Eric Johnson Space Administration was filmed in front of a live internet audience at Universal EJ Studios in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Copyright 2026. Some rights reserved. With tables that have coffee. Hi. Part 4. Part 4! Let's pick up where we last left off. SRM Loading. How we doing over on YouTube? Everybody good? Sorry, I like to have fun with that. And if you didn't find it funny, well, leave a comment or something. I don't know. Or don't. Or do that. Laugh track. Applause. Idiot. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. You're a funny guy. Yeah. Why could you not live stream the ESAR scrub on YouTube? It's because I don't want to double stream NSF content, dude. Especially when I'm not part of the production. I have permission to restream NSF stuff, but it's only on Twitch. And dude, honestly, could I get away with double streaming it on YouTube? Yeah, but I'm not going to do that. Nah, dude, they're doing me a solid by letting me restream it. So I have basically carte blanche to restream NSF stuff like in perpetuity, which is bananas to me. It's in my contract, which is pretty cool. But I wouldn't, dude. I'm not gonna abuse that privilege. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. That's messed up. I don't double stream on YouTube. I got you was wondering. Well, now you know, dude. You just vented the main tank. No, the tanks were, dude. That was the ullage thing. I have these weird things called ethics and morals. I choose business ethics. The Industrial Revolution to me is just like a story I know called The Puppy Who Lost His Way. The world was changing. The puppy was getting bigger. You see, that the dog was like industry in that they were both lost in the woods, and nobody, especially little boy, society, knew where to find him. Except that the puppy was a dog. But the industry, my friends, that was a revolution. Yeah, by football rules! Has ESAR said why they scrubbed? Yeah! Blitz, thank you, thank you. ESAR scrubbed because they had a boat in the range and they recycled the count. And they tried to recycle the count in time, and they didn't cycle the count in time and ended up having their T0 outside of the launch window, and the rocket auto-aborted. That's what happened. Sadima's high school football rules. It's my rule. Mr. Streamer, what you just said was one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this stream is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. Okay, a simple wrong could have done just fine, but, you know. It was their wet dress rehearsal, basically. They probably did that on purpose, dude, if I had to guess. I choose business ethics. Well, the ethics of business can be summarized in see ethic. You know the thing about no, literally wet dress. Yeah. It was actually wet. Yes, that's right. That is right. It was actually that because you know they sprayed the rocket down with water. Not great. I'm just worried about their their rocket's aft end now because they drenched it. Yeah, hydrogen, you know, it might be nothing. It might be nothing, but also it might be something. Eric is pregnant. Congratulations, Dippy. Oh, feel those kicks. He's going to be a soccer player. Yeah. Mason, in high school, there was a kid named Eric. In my history class, and every time I saw him, I said that. Not realizing that if you have not seen Billy Madison, that joke doesn't really work, and it makes you look like a complete butthole. Yeah, 15-year-old EJ had no chill. Like, no chill. But EJ, you are Eric. Yeah, that's right. So, you know. That's, yeah, there's something poetic about that, but I don't know what it is. There's something poetic about that, but blame the tism. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what's going on. I wonder why the sound suppressor automatically turns off when the computer... Why the sound suppressor doesn't automatically turn off when the computer ends the attempt. Yeah, that's my question, Hydrogen, yeah. Reminder that we have vessel priority pertaining to the SRB launch and separation system. That is correct. That is correct. Spanish Armada. 1588. That is correct. Magna Carta, 1216. Oh. Is it bad if for some reason I know I memorized when the Magna Carta was because of that? The first quiz, not the second. I mean the second one too, but 1588. Please, God, give me the answer. Now hang it. Now hang in there. 1 minute. 1 minute. No. 1986. 1981. Please do not do that. All right, let's get the music going. Please do not do that. No, hang it. Oh, please, God, give me the answer. That's so good. I love that movie, man. I think I might like Happy Gilmore a little bit more, but that movie is really good. The world will know propane. That's right, man. All right. Let me lock in. Let me lock in. I gotta lock in. I guess the garage cam doesn't work, in which case this gag doesn't work either. So I'll just sit here and do what I was planning on doing. All right, we're good. Cirrus, lowrider. Lowrider, Cirrus. All right, let's go. He's not a bad golfer in real life? I know, dude. The Magna Carta date is kind of like the U.S. independence. The date is nominal since so much changed after the official date. Yeah, 3LRD, but yeah. I mean, dude, I said that one time I went on a tangent on stream about the U.S. Revolution and how it happened and stuff, and one of the things that I kind of touched base on, and not even a lot of Americans knew this, like, dude, without the Magna Carta, the American Revolution doesn't happen. It's that simple. Like, yeah. When the English decided to change from a monarchy to a constitutional monarchy and give rights to citizens, that, like, dude, that paved the way to the American Revolution. It was a little bit later. It happened, what, like 500 years later, but without the Magna Carta, the U.S. Revolution doesn't happen. It's that simple. Yeah, so, you know, it's funny because, like, you know, you see people like, oh, 1776. I'm like, do you know what the Magna Carta is? No? Yep, all right. Okay, it's kind of important. You got a message. Might be important. Adam Sandler's such a boss, I can't even look at Timothy Chalamet without hearing him say, Chalamet! Yeah, that's right. It's awesome, dude. It was one of the things that the founders were pointing to argue for rights. Yes, that's right. No taxation without representation is grown from the ideas of the Magna Carta. That's really important to understand if you like Western individualism and individual rights. That's what do I know, dude? Like, I'm just a Twitch streamer, right? Let's play with rockets. All right, cool. Stuff blew up. Ha 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 ha. Kerbal. All right. Anyway, so we did figure out some ways to make this work a little bit better. And I did get this to launch, and we did sequence a good separation, but your prescription eyeglasses. No, we have a little bit of trouble getting the vessel hierarchy working correctly. So what I need to do is go in here. Lovely party. Pity I wasn't invited. Can we just change it to no taxation? Troy? I knew I liked you. These live streams really are a learning place. Yep. I totally thought of EJ talking like Hank Hill when Isar said it was propane. Yeah. Oh man, I couldn't type because I was eating mighty delicious pizza, but did you take like 12 coffees? No. I had lasagna, dude. You don't understand. My wife made lasagna. Brother. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. What are you preparing for the semi-quincentennial? KSP, Special Project, Cities, the 250th USA? I don't know, Baron, maybe a history lesson? For real, you off the wall. I'm sorry, man. It's just... Yeah, I ate a whole thing of lasagna. It's called Garfield maxing. All right, like... No, I'm in a good mood. Can I not... Do you not like that? Do you want me to be a jerk? I can do what I did on Monday if you want. Like, when are we making a Hail Mary ship? I was thinking maybe do it for after hours, like after hours on Friday or something, Mason, or as a bonus stream or something, dude. Just to avoid spoilers for the people that haven't seen it yet. But, here, let me shoot you a message. I don't want to spoil it, but... Did you get my message, Mason? Oh, dude. Oh, no, it's doable. It is very doable. We can make it. We can make that ship from the movie. No spoilers. You ain't seen it. Yeah, of course. So I was thinking predominant, like, have a... do a stream, like, late at night for me. It'd probably be in the morning for you. And, yeah, do it in off hours. So, you know, and just put spoilers everywhere. Put spoiler tags everywhere. I want to do it, though, because it's, yeah, I can build that ship. I can build that ship from the movie. It's totally doable. I'm not going to say anything else. I could build the ship from the movie, and that's it. What ship is it? Don't know. There's a spaceship in it. That should be pretty much self-explanatory at this point. Anyway, if you haven't seen Project Hail Mary, Go watch it. It is an amazing movie. 10 out of 10. Well, on the Honest EJ scale, I'd probably give it about a 9 out of 10. It's in my top 20 movies all time. Top 20 all time for EJ. And I've seen, I don't know if you could tell from all the movie quotes, I've seen a lot of movies, dude. I'm reading the book right now and it's even better. The book is even better. It's so good, dude. Because you got to be talking about a Moonbase on Flame Trench. Used to play Moonbase Alpha with the guys for After Hours. Please do not make me do that. Please do not make me do that, Pigzig. By the way, just to say, we're a 1 week away from Artemis 2. Yeah, baby. Yeah, exactly, Panza. Is it bad if, like, no spoilers, fellas, obviously. Is it bad that if it was a 6 to 7 hour movie, first of all, haha. Second of all, I'd watch it. Dude, I'd do it. The best way is to listen to the audiobook. I don't know, man. I have a signed copy by Andy Reid. Like, I'd prefer to read that, but yeah. Like, make it like a Broadway show where you have like a 45-minute intermission where you serve people food or something. Like, you have an actual intermission. You have a show intermission, right? And go from there, dude. I'd watch it. I'd go to the movies for 6 hours for that, sure. Andy, did I say Andy Reid? Andy Weir. Andy Reid is a football coach. I mean, that'd be cool to have a signed copy from him, too. I'm just not really sure what that's going... I don't think that counts for as much. You know? Like, I don't think that counts for anything, but, you know. All right, so... Andy... Did I... Freaking walrus. Anyway, let's go. I need to bring up the KSP docking vessel hierarchy car parts. Oh, look. Base station ship, lander, rover, probe, debris. Cool. A hierarchy question. What's on your mind, champ? Would it make sense to have a way to separate a vessel craft into more substructures within their own hierarchical structure? I mean, to somehow avoid craft files to be corrupted by add-ons like satellites or boosters or the payload. The right way to do it, because we're going to be assembling the vehicle outside of the, you know, we're going to build it on the pad. The right way to do it would be to set the vehicle, set what it is when you roll it out of the VAB. So like when the external tank rolls out, we label it. When the shuttle rolls out, it's labeled as a shuttle, right? Like, that's the right way to do it. Diabetes. You've watched 7-hour documentaries. Yeah, dude, I'd do it. Like, if they made like a Hail Mary like extended cut, that's just the book, and it's like 8 hours long, I'd go to the movies for that. Like, I don't know, I don't think the average normie would, dudes. We would though. Can you imagine 4 hours, hour in a mission, then another 4 hours? Oh, I'd do that. Yeah, I'd do that. That'd be sick. It'd be sick for something like Project Hail Mary. I'm not sure it would work with any other movie, but whatever. Did you know if Das and D will be back for Artemis? I don't know. Depends on when ESAR wants to go again. Four by 2 hours. We don't need deep vein thrombosis. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Artemis 2 coverage schedule. Word. Oh man, it is going to be a righteous couple of days starting on the 27th. Okay. All right, so let's get back to KSP. So base, station, ship, lander, rover, probe, debris. We need to make sure that when we do this, that this all gets synced correctly. So what I'm going to do for further testing purposes, I'm getting rid of that because I think the crew tank is what screwed us up. This needs to be set at the pad needs to be set at the bottom of the hierarchy for the most part. Let me take a look and see how I've set pads in the past. Let's take Condor 9, Slick 5. You know what? I never really got to a good ignition sequence with this thing, so dump it. Yeah, here we go. How about this bad boy? Here we go. It's set as a lander. Where's lander on the vessel hierarchy? Below rover and probe. I know why I did that. So I can drive up and attach certain vehicles without it getting angry. I also removed a piece. Sorry. It's kind of wild that Jared could fix NASA by pressing the giant Fix NASA button. Yes, I don't want to rain on your parade, but I noticed a kind of a little bit of a flaw in the argument. Yeah. You're going to rely on commercial for a moon base, but you also admitted at the same time that the ISS has not fostered a commercial market. If it doesn't work in Leo, how's it going to work on the moon? I'm just saying, man, like, the amount of times you saw that pad blow itself up. Yeah, I know. I know. The moon has natural resources. That's it? That's it? The moon has natural resources? That's all? Okay, we'll see. Hey. Oh, nice. It was enough room. Sweet. Okay. Let's start playing with this here. So what is it set to? Yeah, see, she's set as a ship. All right, that's configured right. Now we go here and set that as a lander. Excellent. Oof. What's that, Phil? What's your best economic argument for humans in space? What's going to make money? What's going to make money? My best argument for humans in space? NASA. That's been my argument for the past 15 years, dude. Hearing during an HASC hearing today, Space Force Lieutenant General Scheiss says a number of missions will be impacted by problem with ULA Vulcan's rocket. Next Gen Geo, Silent Parker, WGS, and some NRO and space domain awareness satellites. Oh, they're screwed. They're screwed. Northrop Grumman screwed them so hard, Phil. I cannot believe it. If I was the ULA people, I'd be yelling at Northrop Grumman right now. Like, I'd go up to Ogden and go up and punch the director right in the face. You know how much money they just cost them from those SRBs not freaking working? Wow. That's ridiculous. Was wondering, you think the shuttle would have retired if Columbia didn't happen? It would have been retired by now, Ari. Yeah, absolutely. It possibly cost them their existence. Dude, I can't. Yeah. Northrop Grumman's starting to turn into Boeing. Bandit, do you really want to know why I think these old space companies don't give a frick about this? This is going to sound ridiculous, right? It's going to sound ridiculous. There's no money in it. There's no money in it. Seriously. There's no money in it. I know people are going to look at me like, what are you talking about? Don't they get billions of dollars from NASA? Guess what, guys? That's chump change. Look at how much the F-35 program costs, and then look at Lockheed's expenditures on the Orion capsule, or Northrop Grumman's expenditures on the boosters when they're cranking out B-21 Raiders. It's chump change, dude. Now, if NASA actually, spent some freaking money on... If the government funded NASA and spent some money on it, then maybe that would change. Doesn't that also screw Blue Origin too? Yeah, a little bit. They're on the hook for a lot of launches, man. There's no money in it, dude. Yeah, look. Keep in mind, fellas, this is AI, so, take it for what it's worth.
Discovery.
B-21 has an average unit procurement cost projected at between $692 and $750 million a pop. That's actually ridiculously cheap compared to the B-2. The B-2 is $2 billion a pop. Well, when it came out, it says right there, cost calculated in 2010 to $550 million. Wait a minute, what? Yeah, that's probably wrong. The B2 is $2 billion a pop. That AI compiling is not correct. Hey, Cyborg, 67-month resub. Not to mention, if ULA shuts down, there goes Centaur 5 for standardized SLS. It's not going to matter, Creeper. Standardized SLS, guys, is 3 launches. There it is. 3 launches. I was talking about a B-21 in the future, not B-2. Punctuation helps. Oh, yeah, there you go. Anyway, yeah, reading helps. Sorry, I'm going too fast. Anyway, vessel hierarchy. That's what we're working on. Okay, so the first thing we have to do now that we've gotten to this point is that. Okay, now we're gonna need a Kerbal. Make sure the gimbals are locked out. They are. All right. Quantity of 3 equals standardized production. Well, Bill, yesterday they only talked about missions up to Artemis 5, maybe Artemis 6. Right? Right? That's what they did. Artemis 1, 2, and 3 will use the ICPS. And then 4, 5, and 6 are going to use standardized Centaur. After that, I'm pretty dang sure, unless I'm not understanding the subtleties to that presentation, I'm pretty sure they're giving an off-ramp to SLS after that. They said after Artemis 6 will open up commercial launch options. Yeah, standardized. So, like I said, ULA could go belly up as long as they produce the 3 Centaur stages. Who cares? People might not like hearing that, but yeah. Personally, I don't mind this plan, but I think it leans way too far into commercial. I really don't like it. Yeah. About ULA. Oh, that's what started this conversation, Baron. They're cooked, bro. They're done. They're so screwed. Like, the dude, the Space Force lost confidence in ULA. I can't, those are words I actually can't believe just came out of my mouth. I thought that would never happen. Yet here we are. Think of all the money that could be saved using commercial. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I know. It's so weird. Tory Bruno ain't gonna save ULA. He's at Blue Origin now, Bandit. That ain't happening. Okay. You got to meet Tory last week and say hi to him. Did you tell him that he is the classiest melon farmer in the space industry, Cirrus? Please tell me you told him that. VC0 only now. I don't know. Cirrus, did you tell them that if you look up cool in the dictionary, you might see his name? You did say you love his hard hats. All right, that's good enough. That's good enough. Cirrus, I honestly, truly, like, if I ever got to meet Tory Bruno, you know what I'd do? I'd walk up to him and I'd give him the most firm handshake I can think of. I'd be like, do you have a wallet that says bad mother trucker on it by any chance? You do? Oh, all right. Well, you know, that explains a lot. That explains a lot. Just like that. No, I'm not kidding. Yes, I have thought about this. Do you have a wallet that says BAMF on the side? Because it certainly seems like you'd be the kind of person. Troy, Tory Bruno's old school, dude. I've never met the man, so I don't speak for him, right? But he's the kind of... You know that he's the kind of guy that gives a firm handshake. That's the kind of dude you're dealing with. You know? I love him, dude. I think he's the best. He's awesome. I've liked him since he... Dude, I've been streaming for so long. When he came into ULA, I was doing Space Newses in like 2016, 2017... And everyone's like, no, he sucks. ULA sucks. ULA sucks. And I'm like, no, dudes, this guy's the real deal. He's the real deal. Like, don't, no. He's one of the good ones. We want more people like him. And I remember having to make the case for that dude, like a lot of times on Space News. I explained to a lot of people that he's the kind of guy you want working on your space program. No nonsense operator. Bingo, dude. Shortline, the Space Force pulled a bunch of missions off of Vulcan because of the booster problems. Pulled a bunch of very high-paying DoD missions off of Vulcan. It's a big deal, dude. They're kind of boned. Like, ULA's kind of screwed. They got a big problem. Oh yeah, guys, I don't know, if you like monitoring the situation, you know THAAD, Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, that thing that's shooting down ballistic missiles from aggressor countries? Tory Bruno, like, invented that. Yeah, that was his idea. He was like a program manager, like a project manager on THAAD. Like, dude, that guy's like the foremost expert on missile technology in this country. He's disgustingly smart. Like, whew. Also, if you like the X-33, the SSDO space plane that Lockheed rolled out 20 years ago, yeah, he worked on that too. This guy's like the Goodwill Hunting of rocket engineers, dude. Actually, he's not Goodwill Hunting. He's always just been disgusting. Like, dude, he's worked on all kinds of cool stuff. Trident D5, that was him. He worked on that too. Trident D5, Lockheed X-33, THAAD, Vulcan. Bro, even those, that's a hell of a resume, those ones. Just those projects right there is just like, damn, dude, you really know what you're doing. But, dude, I forget the full list. He's said it before on podcasts and stuff. Like, all the projects that he's worked on. It is nuts. It's like, damn, dude, you are really, really smart. He wrote white papers on military point-to-point using rockets. All right. Who's going to launch them now? SpaceX? Yeah. So you're the reason they have a picture of you on a wall in blue somewhere saying, do not approach. Yeah, probably. Actually, Brandon... You know, not to brag or anything, but I know a lot of people that work there. Yeah. Not to brag or anything. I know a lot of people that work there. How's that? Pretty good flex, right? Sawyer's got his flexes and I have mine. Actually, yeah, blue's pretty cool. Dude, dude, you know, like back in the day when Blue Origin would just file a lawsuit against everybody, I had to actually, like a lot of Space News, I was like, no, guys, don't. Let them figure it out. Just let Blue do their thing. Trust me on this one. You know the guy that owns the company has extremely deep pockets and is obsessed with space, right? Like, you know this, right? Let him cook. And I remember having conversations with people on Space News that are like, no, he's an idiot. I'm like, no, I don't think so. Man, those conversations probably would have aged real well. I really wish I had some copies of those Space News dudes, but they got deleted in the VODpocalypse. I really wish I had those on tape. Damn it. All right. Where are we at? So, we... Huh. It redocked it. Oh. Guys, I noticed something. So, when we were testing over on... I'm pointing, like... There we go. When we were testing over on the SPH, I had a Kerbal separate here in a pod, and then I walked them up there. I noticed that with this, I needed to leave the scene and come back, and when I left the scene and came back, it hooked it up. I had a suspicion. But that's not the hierarchy. Oh, God. Let's just pretend we didn't see that. But the hierarchy... Yeah. We don't have the cross auto strut there. The hierarchy is still up, over, and through. Interesting that leaving the scene made it redock. Huh. Oh, lovely party. Pity I wasn't invited. Red is bad? No, it's good. Fist my bump. No spoilers. That's very interesting that it did that. All right. Well, if that's the case, let's disable the SRB firing chain, and we'll go through our standardized launch procedure here. Amaze. Dirty. Why room so messy? Question. No spoilers. Serious. I'm serious about that. Don't do that. Free gimbal, undock node. There we go. Okay, so what I'm looking for with this test, guys, is to be able to fuel up the SRBs, and what I really want is to be able to separate them. I want to separate them from the pad, and when we separate from the pad, I want it to default control to the stack. And then when we get to separation, I want it to default control during separation to the center truss bar. Everybody got that? That is the expectation for this test. So we are going to roll through here. SRB fueling. Thrust limiter. Okay. AG's off. SRB refueling is primed. Okay, go here, go there, go there. We need to activate the solid rocket boosters, but they don't have any fuel in them, so it's not going to do anything. Gimbal is still locked out on both of them. Now we take our SRB fueling controller, set it to 2.5. SRB fueling has begun. That sounds very strange to say. Did Tory Bruno build the Trident family of ICBMs? I don't think it's the entire Trident family, oh Hydrogen. I'm pretty sure it's Trident D5, which is Trident D5 is a disgusting variant of the Trident missile. That's like, let's just say it's a really good ICBM, and we'll leave it at that. How much did Jeff Bezos spend on pulling the Apollo engines off the bottom of the ocean? A lot, Gasmon. Tory Bruno's banana for scale got killed by airport security. It's a damn shame. Check your staging. It's in action groups, Glisterpig. Thank you, though. Okay, we have the light there. SRBs are primed. Okay, disable the SRB fueling controller. Set control point. Enable the left SRB firing chain and the right SRB firing chain. Okay. Left and right SRB firing chain is armed. I'm going to open up the editor, bring them on the screen here. This is just for testing purposes, just so we can watch them move through the track. All right, so these up here are the solid rocket boosters and what they're doing. Here is the cal controller, which should show the play position, and here's the cal controller track. SAS is enabled. All right, firing chain is armed. T-minus 10. Well, pause for a second. What I want is when we hit separation, I want us to default control. When we undock from the pad, I want it to default control to the SRBs and not the pad. That is the behavior that I am looking for here. After that, when we get up to separation with the SRBs, I want to make sure that when we separate, it defaults control to the truss segment, and the truss segment parachutes down into the ocean. That is our expectation here. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boots didn't default control. That's not great. We do not want it to do that. I do not want a shuttle stack uncontrollably leaving the launch pad. Hang on, we just gotta... That was induced. It was on purpose. Just so we can get a realistic downrange drop for these things. Okay, so note to self, don't do that or you blow up your forward struts. We're getting an overheat. Okay, thrust tailing off on standby for separation. That's realistic downrange. Okay, when we separate, I want it to default control to the truss segment. Ready? Nope. Fail. Epic fail. No test objectives met. Damn. Why would it do that? Smoking Duck, I wonder how long I've been following this channel. You can click on your name. It should tell you. You've been following since 2016. May 16th, 2016. So 10 years. Almost to the... Well, yeah, 10 years. Well, 9 years and 10 months. March 2nd, 2019. Yeah, Elfish, you came in a little bit late. I had already been streaming for 7 years. Mike, I was one of the first channels you followed. Right on, man. Guys, remember, 2012, dude. 2012. That's when I started streaming. That was not recent. that was not recent. I've been streaming for 14 years. Yep. If you land on the moon, can you please add this to mission control? No. It was recent. Yeah. Last, what's up, Animal? This reminds me of a system I made for a fighter jet with probe cores. I would drop one after the other. I would drop one after the other that were the root part. I managed to make the game not switch to those when they deployed. I should figure out why. Animal, I know the reason. The reason why is it is defaulting to root part of the hierarchy, if that makes any sense. Yep, didn't get that one. Couldn't get that one in time. Got the other one, though. So, dude, it's the Animal. So what's going on? We have our two SRBs, and I disconnect one to make the rest of it work, right? When we disconnect one, it defaults the lower docking port on the right-hand SRB as your root. That's the root part. So the game The game thinks this is the root of the hierarchy and will separate accordingly, from what I understand. It seems to want to ignore hierarchy rules entirely just because the root part is there. So I added parachutes to the cross segment. That's right, yes. Poison, you've been around for a long time, dude. I remember when you quit your first job at Best Buy to stream full time. You were nervous. Yeah, that was a big decision, dude. I'm still paranoid about it to this day. That's this business, though, man. There's no guarantees you're gonna make money. When I first found you on Twitch, I thought you were a D-bag with sunglasses pretending to be a flight controller for NASA with your launches, and 14 years later, you were right. Yeah. Hey, fake it until you make it, man. My first interaction with you was in 2015. I was like 12 years old, and I remember I checked your stream to check KSP footage, but you ended up spending the entire evening talking about an F1 race you watched in Canada or something. I can't remember. I did go to the 2015 Canadian GP, so there you go. Mr. Ham Sandwich is certified lurker follower check message. Right on. What is the pad defaulting to? The pad is defaulting to lander, as it should. Okay. Yeah, and you roasted me saying your calculator is older than you. God dang kids! Imposter syndrome is a real thing. I feel that on a regular basis. Yep. I joined the day of CRS-8 and you spent 7 hours trying to replicate a drone ship landing. Yep. Yeah, I remember that. That was really tough. But I think I got it down. There's a lot of OGs in here right now. That's pretty cool, man. That's actually, dudes, like, just on a quick side note, we'll get back to this in a second. That is one of the most endearing things. Like, when somebody comes back that hasn't been around for a little while and they come back, that's, you know, even if it's just to say hi, that means that I made enough of a hopefully positive effect, right? For you to come back, you know? Like, yeah, that's like one of the things that makes me the happiest. When somebody comes back and ideally it's like, hey, there you go, Lava. Yeah, dude, I get pumped when I, you know, somehow helped push people in the right direction to go get a job in aerospace, dude. That makes me happy. Matt, you're always AFK because I watch him work. That's fine, dude. Yeah, simultaneously, man, I know that the lurkers out there, like the people that have me on your TV in the background right now, whatever, dog, that's fine. I don't care. I'm honored to be your background noise. That makes me happy. That means you thought of me for background noise. You know what? I'm good with it. I don't care. That doesn't bother me. That helps me a ton. Hey, Sitherly. Yeah, I know. You've been here. There you go. Yeah. All right. Yeah, good stuff, dudes. Good stuff. I mean, I have no intention of stopping anytime soon, for what it's worth. Tally has you as background music right now while playing Pocopia. That's so weird. Brimo has me as background music right now while playing Propecia or whatever it's called. There you go, Matt. There you go, Pace. Hell yeah. There you go, Duck. Except for your wife, EJ's probably one of the longest relationships I had. I mean, King, I can relate, bro. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've been streaming longer than I've known my wife, but also, sorry, Bree. I love Bree more for what it's worth. Sorry, guys. Like, you know good and well that that's the right answer, but also, I've been streaming for longer. Propecia. That's the name. But what are we? You're just a friend, I know. Oh my god. Chat's just a friend, I swear. All right, anyway, we got to figure this out. How do we figure this out? How do we get this right? Aqualex, are you here, buddy? Yeah, I got you, King Kid. Yeah, I know what you mean. You think it's time we tried to do some GUP stuff here? Instead of separated launch plates, dude. So, my problem here My problem here is this single SRB thing does work. It works, and it'll work well for integration, but it doesn't seem like that's going to work well for launch. Hey, Bob, what's going on, man? Thanks. Oh, thank you, Guy. Oh, yes. Yeah, there you go, Jeffin. That would be a win condition. Money. I thought as a pad being one craft is, well, I can get it to sequence right, but the problem is that we're reversing the flow on the hierarchy, man. Arclex, to be honest with you, the snap booster plate, the booster plates snapping together is not the worst idea. No, yeah, that's not the worst idea, dude. The thing about it though is that I'm worried about like when we go to put the whole stack together, you know? Like this puts the stack together really tightly and pretty cleanly and efficiently, right? Like but what seems to be going on is because it defaults root part to that SRB hold down point, right? Okay, I got another idea. All right, let's recover this. Maddie, you came from NSF and stay for the goofy, fun, happy times and Titan. And the intellectual and thought-provoking conversations are just an added bonus and so much more. It's so much more worth it than any university classroom can provide you. Right on, man. Thank you. That's high praise, Maddie. Right on. Given the iteration challenges for carbon fiber, do you think Stoke will beat Neutron to flight? Yes. Yeah, I think that would be a fair assessment. Don't get scubbed. Nobody wants to get scubbed. Take as much out of the hierarchy as you can, like what you did with your ISS as well. Rash, you found from watching NSF? Yeah, I got you, man. I appreciate everybody that stuck with me, you know, even when I'm not working on NSF, dudes. Thank you so much. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like you guys didn't save the stream. There was a while after Kerbal 2 got basically canceled that I really thought about stopping. But I decided to see it through and it paid off, you know? Thank God. I don't know what the hell I'd be doing if I wasn't doing this. There is, you know, saying I make fake rockets in a video game doesn't go too far on a freaking resume, you know what I mean? That's not going to get you very. I make fake airplanes. You know? More than KSP, it's certainly more than KSP2. Yeah, thanks, Engineer. I appreciate you, man. So make real ones. That's a good idea. I think I will. Let me finish the Dodge. I mean, we got all the tools. We got all these tools, ARJ. I gotta put them all to use. Put them all to use. Like, right? Like, got all these tools. Really, Engineer, that's cool. I came when you were on the front page of Twitch. Right on, Bandit. How's the pad going? RJ, I can get separation to work correctly, but it's not defaulting control to the right things. I'm an aerospace engineer for cartoons. I'll take that. That's fine. Crouton! Holy crap, dude. I haven't talked to you in forever. My first time joining the stream, you were making a 3D model of the shuttle. I was thinking of going to college for 3D modeling, so I was looking for streams to watch. The second stream I joined, you were playing KSP and decided shortly after to go to school for engineering. Been working in the industry for 4 years now. Oh, damn. That's sick, dude. All right. Yes. Yes, it worked. Yes. Awesome, man. See, Crouton, that's what I'm talking about. That stuff right there. That's what makes this job worth it, dude. The money is great. You guys take great care of me, but that right there is why I do what I do. Because that's cool. That's cool. Knowing I could help somebody else out, figure stuff out, and, you know, politely nudge people into the aerospace sector makes me so happy. That's like, oh, God, does that make me happy. If you ever quit streaming, I demand you impose yourself on NASA and take over their entire streaming system. Okay. I'll see what I can do. I inspired you to purchase a project car. Yes, because project cars are fun. It's a great way to learn how to be a technician for an aerospace company. You can wrench on a car, you can wrench on a rocket. I'm serious. That is a real-world skill that you can parry to get into the aerospace industry if you don't have a degree. That is why I do this stuff, 27. That's why I work on that crap box Dodge out there. Oh, I got the floors patched up, dude. I did that. I don't know when I did it, but I did it. Here, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm not sure if you can see it from here, but here, look. Boom. You can just see that there's a smidge of gray right there where there's in fact no more holes in the floor. Sleeve wrenching. That's not something I've heard of before. Damn, Baron. I can't repeat that on stream, but yeah, man. Let's freaking go! Let's build all the damn rockets. I like rockets. I like them a lot. Dude, I don't know, man. To this day, I don't even know why I like rockets so much. I can't figure it out. I just, every time I see one, I'm like, ding! Like, I have, all right, and I mean this in a very endearing way. I have the worst rocket autism ever. Like, it's disgustingly bad. Like, it's terminal. All right, it's terminal, bro. Dude, it is disgusting. Like, it's like, I like those. They shoot fire out the back. I like that. That's pretty cool. You know, you know, it's not great. Hey, that's good, Dean. Yeah, no, it's good to have it. Leave it to the tank tools to fix your car when you're not looking. Have you told Brimo about your terminal condition? Oh, she knows. Oh, she knows. Has your welding improved? Davey, it's gotten better. Yeah, it's gotten better. I'm confident enough that the welds that I'm doing on the car are good enough. With that being said, patching that part of the floor was my first kind of soiree into welding 24 gauge steel at extremely low voltage. let me put it this way. The floor is solid, but the welds ain't nothing to write home about. Yeah, that would be the right way to say that. It's solid. It's not going anywhere, right? But, yeah, if we're talking 16 gauge steel with 35 thou wire, I can weld it and it'll look nice. Yes, I could do that. Where I'm really learning right now is that you really got to prep those surfaces, man. Welding prep is everything, dude. It's like painting a car. Painting is 90% prep, 90% prep, 10% painting. Welding is 90% prep to make sure that the part fits right, to make sure that your gaps are good, to make sure that the surfaces are clean, that you get a good connection. It's like 90% that. Even like tweaking the welding settings to make sure the welder settings are right, 10% of it is actually going bzzz with the welder. How many holes did you burn? I didn't burn any holes through on the 24 gauge, Lord. I didn't burn any. I tack welded it. I just did tack, just kind of going around the horn on the entire panel. So I started in one corner, did another corner, did another corner, did another corner, did a tack next to that, next to that, next to that, and then just kept going around and around and around to make sure I didn't put too much heat into the plate. You can blend the welds to smooth it out. Hey, Drunar. After the Dodge, are we going to go solid or liquid fuel? If we're going to do it, we'd probably start with solids, Rarest. I don't think I have the chops to make a liquid fuel rocket on my first try. I don't think I have the chops to do that. All right. Anyway, guys, let's go, dude. I have no intention of stopping. As long as you guys like seeing this and I'm not boring you to death, I'm good to go. Solids are fun at an amateur scale. Another rocket test at McGregor. Yeah, Cyborg, there you go. Smart, you didn't warp it. Good job. Yep. 10,000 hours, technically, pace, yeah. Yeah, apparently only needs a propane gas tank and a lighter. It'll work. Someday, Rain. Not yet. I'm finishing that pile of Dodge right there. When that's done, we'll take a stab at it. Solids are fun. Joe is doing great with them. There you go, Nick. Yeah, no, it's got to be. Yeah, no, the car. Rain, I'm not gonna lie to you. The car's missing some parts. Yeah, she's missing some parts. Yeah, there's a couple of pieces missing. I'm working on it. Guys, actually, yeah, once tax is clear, I should have enough for the quarter panels. I have enough right now, but gotta file quarterly because you know, but that's how she goes, man. Thinking about this at the office earlier, there's a chance if you choose to go hard at it, for you to be a maintenance guy on the moon in 20 years. Good all around skill foundation, just need the paper. Yeah, right. It's 70 by the lift. I still have to do it, ARJ. Yeah. Anyway. All right, hierarchy with this. So let me think about how I'm going to do this. I need to look at some reference. I got an idea. My idea to get the hierarchy to work correctly would be, look, I don't necessarily need the hierarchy during separation to be defaulting to the, I don't need it defaulting to the orbiter. If I could get the hierarchy with the stack during ignition just to default to the stack, the external tank or the shuttle, then I'm good. That's all we need. Because when we separate from the external tank, that doesn't mean nothing. When you separate from the ET, you're already in space. You can just switch. You could switch to the orbiter. It's not a big deal, right? So what I'm thinking is, as long as I we got to find a way to fool the game into understanding that a stack is leaving the pad, right? Because right now it just thinks I'm separating something from a gigantic lander. That's what it thinks I'm doing. So it's defaulting away from that. The reason why is because, yeah, it's defaulting to the SRB aft attachment point, which is not really what I want. So what we really need to do is figure out a way to, well, change that. What would be the simplest way to do this? So I have an idea about what we could do in the future utilizing the ground umbilical carrier plate. If you're watching from NSF streams, I'm sorry. I know you guys don't like that thing, but I'm going to use it here to fool Kerbal's hierarchy. So not a lot of people know that the shuttle has another umbilical. There's two main umbilicals on these things, tail service mast umbilicals. There's the T1 and T0 carrier tail service mast, and the T1, T0 carrier tail service mast carrier umbilical plates. They're the umbilicals. They're the fuel lines for the shuttle, for the external tank particularly. But the external tank has two other umbilicals that not a lot of people know about, okay? Let me find a picture of them. Well, there's one. So, the two other umbilicals that the shuttle uses is up here. This one is called the beanie cap. The beanie cap is there to evacuate gaseous oxygen from the nose cone of the external tank. If you think about a rocket like Falcon 9, you think about SLS, there's oxygen vent lines. There's gaseous oxygen vent lines. Now, what the beanie cap does is, if you look, it attaches to the vents from the gaseous oxygen vent line on the tank that makes tank ullage inside of the ET. And what it does is it pulls it out this HVAC line and dumps it over the side. The reason why is because you don't want your gaseous oxygen lines to be venting out left and right and then potentially fall down onto the external tank. The beanie cap, this is the gaseous umbilical carrier, right? It's called the beanie cap for short because it looks like a beanie cap. That thing actually moves down over the top of the shuttle during launch, or did move down over the top of the shuttle during launch. It doesn't anymore. In my mind, it still does though, okay? All right, I can dream. So there's a picture of it with it attached, and see there's the vent line that goes out the side. Now I don't want to use that because I don't want that thing to be the last thing that touches the shuttle before it leaves the pad. Obviously that's not going to work, right? That's not good. That's not going to work right. The beanie cap was separated not during the terminal count, but after the crew was on board. The crew ingressed into the vehicle, and the vehicle was getting towards the point of terminal count. They did separate the beanie cap. Now, we don't want to use that. Am I going to model that? No. Are we going to put that on our pad? Absolutely not. I don't need to worry about gaseous oxygen. That's not a thing in KSP. Now, with all that being said, there's this thing down here. See that thing? That is called the ground umbilical carrier plate. In the same way, the beanie cap is there to vent your gaseous oxygen. The ground umbilical carrier plate, the GUP, is a has-gas vent line. What it does, what it's designed to do, is pull gaseous hydrogen out of the top of the external tank, and it sends it down to a purge flame. That's the end of the story. It sends it down to the purge flame. It pulls gaseous hydrogen. Now that we can use. The GUP, I don't know how an Atlas Centaur from Slick 36A got snuck into my shuttle folder, but you know, whatever. Now the GUP is something that's, I don't know how that snuck in here either, but whatever. The ground umbilical carrier plate, it's not hooked up in this picture. This is at Vandenberg. It has the same thing. The ground umbilical carrier plate is attached to the vehicle till T0, till the SRBs fire. That's what this huge servicing mast is out the side of the fixed service structure. That's where the ground umbilical carrier plate connector was added. And the GUP vents to the purge flame, which is right there. we can use that to our advantage here. If somehow, guys, I can take... these are pictures from Vandenberg. I actually need pictures not at Vandenberg for a change. The gup at Vandenberg was never hooked up. It was never hooked up because they never flew from there. During the fitment test, they didn't hook it up. Here we go. The alarmy photo is going to work. Actually, you know what? Let's add to our shuttle collection. Hold on. Trying to find a good picture. No. Give me one moment. I got some pictures of dudes working on it. Here we go. Here's what I'm talking about. See, it's right there. That's the hydrogen has gas umbilical carrier. SLS has one of these too. It's the core stage. It's on the core stage. It's one of the core stage vent arms. Now we can use that to our advantage. I'm just not 100% sure if that's gonna work. Does SLS have a beanie cap? No, SLS does not. Here. So SLS doesn't have the beanie cap, but it does have the gup. It's honestly the same thing. It's just modified for SLS. Let's see if I can get you like a 3/4 view from NASA. Here we go. Here's a picture of Artemis 2 out on the pad. So right there. So that is your hydrogen umbilical right there. Now there's no beanie cap because SLS has just the LOX vent right there. See it? See that little nubbin? There's no need for the beanie cap. The only reason why they had the beanie cap on the shuttle was so gaseous oxygen doesn't pool around the nose cone. With this, they just dump it overboard. There's no nose cone. The nose cone's up there. So you don't need to worry about it, right? But SLS does have a hydrogen vent line. It's right there. And it attaches in the exact same spot as it did on the space shuttle. Same spot on the core stage. Like if you were looking at the stage like this, it's clocked in the same spot. And then this crazy thingamajigger right here with the triangles, that's your VSS. Those are shock absorbers. That's to make it so when the vehicle is rolling, it doesn't tip. Yeah, vehicle stabilizer. Vehicle stability system. And yeah, that's it. Up here, up above the VSS, you have your ICPSU. The interim cryogenic propulsion stage umbilical. That fuels up the upper stage. That is where they had a problem, and that's why they had to roll it back. Above that, you have your Orion service umbilical right there, and then the crew access arm. Crew access arm's pretty self-explanatory. It's on the other side of the launcher, and from this picture, though. That's pretty obvious what that does. Yeah, and that's it. Those are your umbilicals. Motor question. I have a forklift at work that runs off propane. They replaced the fuel regulator on it because it was freezing up. Long story short, after that, it will not start. It cranks, but no start. If you give it gas, it will backfire through the intake. They called a company. They said the timing is off. It's cam and blocks of the push rods and rockers, and in my case, non-adjustable distributor. I think there's a bent push rod or a broken valve spring. Thoughts? You can hear it when it cranks. Lower dead cylinder. I'd say spoiled is right, 619. Yeah, it sounds like the regulator left and then flooded the engine with propane. Yeah, Drunar, 619, Drunar over in chat said do a compression test. I would agree. I would say that's what you should do. Do a compression test, man. Yeah. Yeah, you got to make sure you didn't gack the engine in the forklift. Yeah, do a compression test all day, man. So, what I want to do is try and see if we can simulate the ground umbilical carrier plate here. And how I'm going to do that is... No, that's not going to work. It ran fine before all this. Let me read it again, 619. Yeah, see, the company's saying the timing is off. That makes no sense if it was working fine before you replaced the fuel regulator. It backfires through the intake. Stuck intake valve. Yeah. Even with propane off, you can hear a low hole. Yeah. Sounds like something is unhappy inside of that motor, dude. I would do a compression test just to see. Stuck or bent intake valves. Yep. When it backfires, 619, does it blow fire out or does it make a psst noise? Does it go psst like that? Like, I'm serious. I'm good at doing impressions. Does it make that noise? No, it doesn't do that. It backfires, so fire happens. Okay. Yeah. That sounds like do a compression test. Verify that you got a dead hole, and if you have a dead hole, take the head off. You can see fire. Okay, cool. Because if it was going psh with no fire, that means you got no spark, right? Or you're getting no Chat, does a propane forklift have spark plugs, or does it diesel it? Does it auto combust propane? I actually don't know. You can't see fire. Oh. Well, my question still stands. Does it have a plug? Propane needs a spark? Yeah. So it makes that noise. It goes psh, like that out the intake. Ooh. Ooh. Well, Murdoch, it doesn't It's not a carburetor because it's propane. So with propane in lieu of a carburetor, you have a regulator. Do a compression test. Yeah, I think that's fair. See if one's running low. 619, I know you know this. I'm just saying this for everybody else. Guys, if you ever do a compression test on a car, it's not like you're looking for like a 20 PSI differential or about a 1 bar differential between your lowest and your highest. If your lowest and your highest is within 1 bar or about 14 PSI of each other, you're good to go. It's fine. Yeah, do the compression test, homie. That's what I'd do. All right, let's get back to work. Guys, I'm in a little bit of a pickle here. I'm not sure how we're going to solve this. My first thought was that the regulator's dookie and it's feeding way too much pressure and flooding it. That's why it's not igniting. Possible. Yeah, exactly, Hellfish. If 619, if you're right, it has a dead hole, it's going to read 0. It's going to read no PSI. You're going to run it and it's going to go and that's it. Hey, Mercury, it's been some time since you watched. Forgot how much I like these? Right on. Pickle EJ does not have the same charm as Pickle Rick once did. Shut up. Crank with propane off tomorrow. See if you can see a dead hole. Right on, brother. Yeah, that's what I'd do. Got your back, homie. Animal, you just did a test. New file with a probe core decoupler and then a bunch more probe cores and decouplers, then a structural part with a Kerbal seat. With the first decouple, it stayed on the original route. But after switching back, each decouple, I stay with the Kerbal. Not on the now root part. Not sure if this mechanic is what you need. Well, anything with crew overrides vessel hierarchy, Animal. Yeah, crew overrides vessel hierarchy. So now that I'm thinking about it, this might not even be an issue if we have a shuttle on board with if we have a shuttle with people on it. In fact, I'd be... I don't think that's a good idea. Okay, I have a plan. I'm gonna send it, right? And then what we do... we send it and then we just decouple. We just decouple the capsule. So you land right back down on the pad. I'm going to also add a control from here thing. I don't want to do this. This is not a good idea at all. Had a whoopee cushion for the shuttle, for the capsule to land on. Well, I gave it 2 pretty big honking parachutes, but I'll put a heat shield on it just in case. It's not like we don't have the mass margin here with what we're testing, dude. Use a white suit? Well, no, it's got to be Jeb. It's got to be Jeb, man. And Action Group 9 is the oh frick button. Okay. So Thomas is tired of attaching struts. He spent his entire life trying to become a Kerbal Knot. He actually has 1 star. Thomas has flown into space in this save, dude. Just on a side note. Where is he? Oh, he's out in the truck. Oh, this is such a bad idea, dude. You know what? I'm gonna do this. We're gonna do this with nobody on board. I want to see if the capsule just defaults to the right thing. If just having the capsule on there is enough. Who dares wins? Is that the slogan of the Special Air Service? As far as I know, it doesn't work uncrewed. Well, it put Jeb on board, so... I hate this test. I hate it a lot. But then again, we don't need to... All I got to do is separate the SRBs. We don't necessarily need them to fire, do we? Hey, Bucket. What's up, man? It's going all right. Yes, you do. Well, yeah, to test separation, huh? Jeb's got to fly this whole damn thing. Remember when I was talking about ESAR a little bit earlier, guys, and I was talking about balancing known and unknown knowns and unknown unknowns, and how you have to manage the risk correctly, but you can't spend all day managing risk? Remember how I said that? This is one of those times. We won't know. I really don't know if this is going to work. This could kill him. And permadeath is enabled on this save. This save has permadeath. We could just always edit him back in, but... Yeah, this is not how to do this properly, precisely. This is, yeah. You know, I think it would probably be a good idea to just load up the SRBs halfway. Well, no, we need a good analog test. I agree, it should be full mass. Shut down the main SRB firing chain. SRB firing chain is locked out. Okay. You feel almost as negative as Eric does about SLS. Guys, the only real thing that I'm kind of worried about here is this thing breaking off in the middle of flight. I don't think it will. And if it does, we just switch to it and toggle the parachutes. It's pretty, honestly, for KSP, this is pretty safe. I already know that we can very, very much get this thing to separate away from the pad when we're not in control of it. I know that we can do that. The only thing I'm really wondering is about ascent. Ascent is really where this starts to get a little squirrely. Okay. Fueling controller is off. Main SRB firing chain is re-enabled. Auto sequencer is good. T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It did not default control to the right thing. But Jeb is doing his thing, and he is quite happy. All right, here's what we're doing. We're ejecting him. There you go. I don't want him to fly up into space. Sorry. Unfortunately, we have to let that one go. If we can switch back in time before it gets 21 kilometers away, then maybe. But I'm not risking Jeb for this. And we are definitely not going to do that. Oh, it might work. It got high enough. It got above 25 kilometers, dude. So yeah, we could switch back to the SRBs once we're down. Okay. What? I wanted to get down to the ground faster. Oh yeah, I still have the yeah, I was worried about that the SRBs might still have some fuel in them. It's fine. Is it bad if the SRBX is a great design? No, it's not. And I'm the only one who likes it. Yes, it's bad. Alright, test separation. I have a feeling it's just going to switch us to the right SRB, but ready? 1, 2, 3. Yep. Damn. Where's the other SRB? Well, that's gone. You'd still switch to the shuttle after separation. RJ, I am not going to risk separating the SRBs from the shuttle and have control defaulting to the SRB. I'm not risking that. That is really stupid. You're asking for trouble at that point, dude. We're gonna have to figure out another way. Are you able to set the chute to control from a cow controller? It deploys the drogue chute automatically, Stubborn. It doesn't deploy the other chutes because they're stowed inside of a fairing. I'm gonna have to change that. What was the order that you connected those control points to the pad? You have a cow switch the control to the middle before separation. Changing your control point doesn't matter. It's docking vessel hierarchy. What about the fairing deployment? I don't know if you could blow a fairing with the cow controller, dude. Either way, the forward section of the SRBs need to be redesigned, dude, because I can't... Yeah. If I want to reuse them, I can't have the nose cones separate on a decoupler. Not reusable. We're gonna have to revamp the system. So I still can't get this to work exactly right. I have another idea. I'm not going to do this with a Kerbal on board. That is asking for trouble. But if we're able to replicate, we might be able to replicate somehow, hang on. I'm thinking, dudes. Have you tried asking it to work nicely? Yeah, that didn't work. All right. Here's how this is going to work. Watch. I'm going to replicate the GUP, or at least try to duplicate the logic that I'm trying to see if we know will work. I'm going to do it with one of my hinges here. And then attached to this bad boy, I'm going to do... Does it need to be a Gigantor big tower? No. No, it does not. Do I think it's cool doing it that way? Yes. Yes, I do. These hinges and these hinge pieces come in very handy. Does the vehicle type of each part impact the control point? Root part impacts control point. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right, this is a good idea. For this test, this is going to involve a lot of snap docking. So how do I want to do this? Yeah, let's put it out on the pad. Like the launch pad. Test as you fly, right? This is where we would want our shuttle launch pad to be if we were going to do this. So what I'm going to try to do, the expectation for this test is I'm going to unclip both of the SRBs. And I'm going to make that my not separation control point, but, well, yeah, actually I am. I'm going to make it my separation control point, which I don't know how that's going to work when it's sitting on the side like that, but either way, let's play with the SRBs here and let's see what this does. The other thing that I could do here, guys, is just put a full shuttle stack on it, reconfigure the docking logic, run the struts that I need to run, and then fly a shuttle and see what it does. That could get a little bit expensive if it doesn't work. Purple. We need Thomas out here. But what I'm thinking about, guys, is so, okay, on my space shuttle, during ascent, my control point is actually on the external tank. I don't actually control the vehicle from the shuttle cockpit, the control point. It's just on the ET. If I can make that control point the last area, or the last thing that detaches from the vehicle, then it will default control point to what I already use. But that control point is up where the beanie cap would be. So what I'm thinking, dudes, is this wouldn't be a stupid idea. What I'm thinking is maybe, so back in the day, I had a little separator piece. I had a separator piece on my integrated fairings that when we would launch, it was so I could hang the fairing on the vehicle, or we could stack the fairing on the vehicle. There was always a decoupler and a docking port at the top, so if I needed to deintegrate the vehicle, I could pull it off, right? Since we're expending the external tank, right? If I did that same exact design and had a decoupler attached to my forward control point on the external tank, and then I'd take that decoupler and we gizmo it off to the side and put that decoupler in the exact position where the ground umbilical carrier plate is, dude, right? When we go to separate, if we model the gup and we go to separate it and it falls, right, the last control point connection would be the top docking port, and it would default to the top docking port. And that means we would default to the external tank on ignition and liftoff. Now, the real thing the real thing at this point is, how do we, I'm thinking, the thing at this point is, you know, that could solve our control point problem. That will solve our separation problem. At least I think it will. I don't remember, T-Man. Have you ever done an RTLS with the shuttle? Yeah, with my older designs, Retsy, but my newer designs of the shuttle never have to RTLS because they work. I don't have to worry about an engine failure or anything. Yeah, the gup defaulted to that control point is actually a really good idea. I like that idea a lot. That will get the right defaulted control point, and it'll root part the hierarchy correctly. And then if my external tank doesn't have a probe core or anything on it, then we don't need to worry about the shuttle. It'll default because it'll set it as debris, which is what it usually does. That's a good idea. That's probably what we're gonna do. Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Oh, Jared, I loved it, dude. I loved it. I saw the movie and I'm reading the book right now. And be careful with spoilers with Project Hail Mary. There's a lot of viewers that haven't seen it. So I'm serious. I saw it. I loved it. Do not talk about it. Like, not even like, oh, I love this part, but don't. Yeah, Project Hail Mary is probably one of my all-time. I'd say, dude, I'm a little bit of a movie buff. I've watched a ton of movies. Project Hail Mary is in my top 20. All time. All time. It's that good. I'm not trying to hype it up. For me, it's... Yeah. It's a great movie about space. You know, I can't say any more without spoiling anything. So yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I would say better than Interstellar. There, I said it. Yeah, no spoilers, guys. Don't say anything about it. You just say you like the movie, and that's it. I'm serious. Like that. That is the most. This is probably the most like anal retentive I've been about spoilers. Don't say no. Don't say nothing. Yeah. Yeah, Dino, I know what you mean. What's your favorite and worst space movie? Worst space movie is Armageddon. My favorite space movie is, honestly, I think it bested The Martian. I love Project Hail Mary is amazing. I've never been so emotionally moved by a movie in a long, I haven't been that emotionally moved by a movie in a long time. Yeah, it is really good, man. It's really good. So if The Martian is number 1 and Armageddon is number 100, where's Hail Mary? 2? 3? Maybe? I'm telling you, man. Geek, it is. The last time I was this hyped up. All right, here's perspective. The last time I was this hyped up about a brand new movie. First of all, I can only say like the number of times I've been hyped up about a new movie over the last 10 years. I can count how many times that's been on maybe 2 hands. Right? Dude, what's the right way to say it? Okay, so I have infinite electricity. Why is this not infinite electricitying? All right, fine, let's do it this way. That was fizz warp and everything broke. Good, that test's invalidated. Lovely. Yeah, Geek, sorry, I was trying to do the test. The last movie I was this hyped up about was probably Top Gun Maverick. And yeah, Top Gun Maverick is easily in my top 20 all time as well. Where would you put Apollo 13? On that 1 to 100 scale that you just said, Apollo 13 is in the top 5. Yeah. Dude, go see it, Geek. You'll like it. It's a good flick. Yeah. Like I said, I don't want to spoil anything, but for what it's worth, dude. So, if you're not convinced, here, how's this as a selling point? Project Hail Mary uses little to no CGI. The production studio that did the production effects is ILM. That's George Lucas's effects company. No green screen 3D nonsense here. Everything is practical effects. There is some 3D here and there, like in certain spots, just to help blend some of the stuff together. But 90% of this movie is practical effects, a good old compositing and rotoscoping, which, yeah, it's not like everything is 3D. They made everything. So the set pieces in the movie are all real. It's not the actors performing in front of a green screen. All right, Fluffy. Yeah, the CGI, exactly, Animal. The CGI is supplementary. It's only used where needed. The vast majority of this movie is done with practical effects. That should tell you that what you're getting into here. Yeah, dude, it is geek. It felt like watching. All right, dude, it felt like watching an old movie. Does that make sense? It felt like watching an old movie where you get like old movies like, I don't know, Gladiator, or um like just movies where you're fully immersed and you're fully involved with these characters. The way it's presented to you, you really feel the weight of what's going on. It's just a good movie, man. Like, in a sea of crap movies, this thing shines. It shines as bright as the damn sun. Yeah. Like James Cameron visual effects, ILM's better than James Cameron in my opinion. Pace. But yeah, Geek, it's all old school. They only use little bits of CGI here and there to kind of help blend some scenes together. Honestly, not even noticeable. You wouldn't even notice otherwise. Everything. The space shots, it's all composite, rotoscoped and composited, and matte painting. Which is, oh, it's so good, dude. I cannot speak to the effort put forth to this movie. It is amazing. 9 out of 10 all day. All day with this flick, no joke. Should I read the book? Bandit, I would say that if you haven't read the book and you haven't seen the movie, read the book first. Because then the movie is just the icing on the cake, dude. As somebody that saw the movie first and now I'm reading the book. Always book first. It's an Andy Weir movie. Just read the book first. Trust me. Yeah. Geek, the other thing about Project Hail Mary is that it doesn't insult your intelligence. It's not trying to spoon feed you any type of nonsense. It's just a good movie, man. It's just a good movie. That's it. It's just a good movie. That's where that ends. And that's what makes it so damn good, in my opinion. It's if it's an Andy Reid movie, you're in the wrong theater. Oh, shoot. Yeah. Geek, this ain't slop. It's a good flick, dude. I love it, man. I love that movie. It's, like I said, top 20 all time. Easily. Going to see it Saturday? Do it, man. Hercules. Yeah. Geek, I think that's one of the biggest ones, dude. It's not spoon feeding you exposition. You understand what's going on. You know what's going on. It's not going to insult your intelligence. It's just a good movie, man. Like, I think so. Ryan Gosling he spoke at an advanced screening, dude, and I mean, he said something to the tune, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's something to the tune of, "It's not your job to keep the movie theaters in business. It's my job to do that." And yes, that's right. Please, it's really nice to have somebody actually understand that for a change. You know what I mean? Your girlfriend and I are going to see it in IMAX. Dude, it will blow your freaking mind. I'm not... Dude, no hype. It will blow your mind. If you see it in IMAX... Dude, Brimo and I saw it in IMAX in the second row. And I'm just sitting there going... Oh! This is awesome! You know, like, it's just... Oh! You know, like... Yeah, dude, no hype, no bullcrap. It's a good flick. It's a good flick, and you'll leave the theater like, damn, dude, I've been on a ride. You know, like back in the day when you went to the movies and you saw a movie and you're walking out of the theater and you're just like, what the heck did I just watch? This is crazy. And then I don't know if you guys do that. You walk out of the theater and you're like, now I gotta get in my car and go home after I've been on that freaking thrill ride for the last 2 hours. Like, damn, you know, that's too close. How the heck do you not miss most of the movie in the second row? Dude, the screen was wrapping around me. All I had to do was just sit back and do this, and it felt like you were there. Like, the screen was wrapping around my whole peripheral. It was excellent. Max Q achieved in theater. You felt like that with a Matrix. Yes, yes! Like the first Matrix space dive. Like that. Yes, that feeling. Exactly this. Exactly that. To a T. It's a reminder how a good movie makes you feel things. Yes, exactly. Damn it, what was I working on in Kerbal? Sorry. So this thing ran out of batteries because of that, so... Let me give it some batteries on the back end there. Sorry, fun conversation. I saw it, Nova Raptor. ULA's in trouble. Yeah, they in trouble. They got a problem. I want to go see it again, damn it. Daniel Pemberton did the score for Project Hail Mary, and god damn is it good. Dude, like, I'm serious. The effects, the story, the music, the presentation, it's all easily 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10s. It's awesome, dude. And I mean awesome in awe, like, it will strike awe into you. Like, I'm telling you, like what Interstellar did. It's that good. No hype. It's that good. Go watch it. And if you like space, you'll really like it. There's also that. I love it, dude. I love that space flight is popular. It's popular in, like, for normies. If to say that any better, like space flight is hot. It's a good movie. Practical effects. Doesn't insult your intelligence. It's just, yeah, man. The last movie I was this hyped about was Top Gun Maverick, and that's one of my favorite flicks, dude. I still watch clips from Top Gun Maverick when I'm having a bad day. Yeah, I'll go watch Tom Cruise and in the frickin' F-14, that last scene from Top Gun Maverick. It's not the plane, it's the pilot. Don't think, do. Like, I love that shit. I love it. Sorry, I'm getting fired up. Right, Victory? Oh, dude, I never even thought of that. Honestly, I'd go again too. Really? You told me not to think. Yeah. All right. Do we want to put a whole stack on this damn thing? I'm not sure if that's the right move here, dudes. This test is not going to do what I really want. I was trying to get your parents to see if they'd want to go so we could go again. Yeah. How am I going to put the tank on here? All right, well, what I want here, there's the ET crossbar. Let me think.
Clifton, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Hello, E.J. I'm here to tell you about NASA, about an alternative history, where I am NASA administrator. We are going back to the moon, on space shuttle rockets, on integrated launch pads, in KSP.
Thanks, Bill. Okay, so I need to set 1 to the default control. Control from here. All right. I copied it, so. All right. So now that's attached to the center, to the tank crossbar. Okay. How this really needs to be set up now, if we want to move this, we want to do this correctly. If we got to emulate putting it on the pad. Fellas, I don't need to do this test with the orbiter on it to be 100% real. I don't need to do this with the orbiter on it. Yeah, we can just do it with the tank and the boosters. It's gonna look like this shuttle stack that's outside the KSCVC. So now what I need to do is we need a small decoupler. It needs to attach to there. And I need to flip it around so it's attached like that. And then we take the decoupler. This thing is going to have to move all the way back here. There. And I know the ground umbilical carrier plate, guys, is connected over here. If I take the entire stack and we rotate it 15, 30, 45 degrees, and then I take this, there. There's your GUP attachment point. Right there. So, if we... Let me just play this out in my head here. All right? So, if we're integrating the shuttle stack, we attach one SRB to the pad, attach the second one to the pad, right? Then we bring the external tank in, we hang the AT. Then we would attach the ground umbilical carrier plate.
Discovery, go at throttle.
Or no, attach the shuttle, then the GUP. So when that would make it, so the shuttle, yeah. Schnooze, 12-month resub. Thank you. Los Cavenos, I got this, dude. This is, dude, I have to do this. I have to get, dude, we have to do it with, at least with the external tank. I have to. Have you ever made cruise missiles in KSP? No. Why would I make cruise missiles? I'm gonna have to bring the external tank into the craft file. How the hell am I gonna do that without any of the struts on the external tank screwing up? Guys, I'm not sure I have a way of bringing the external tank into the craft file without actually, like, putting it out. And, because the external tank has struts all over the place, dudes. You see all the struts that connect everything together to make the external tank really, really strong. If we merge the craft files right now, what it's going to do is screw it up. It's going to break it. It'll break all those struts on there. Along with the orbiter. Can you bring the pad into this file? So Mutter, I swear I'm not just saying this to like get out of doing this, but the only way this is going to work is if I have a ground umbilical carrier plate umbilical line made, right? That's the only way, or at least something to fudge it, you know what I mean? And in order to do that, I need to find the exact position of where that docking port is on this stack. The problem is that I made a new shuttle craft file and I'm not using the stack measurements craft file. The stack measurements craft file is the one that has the docking ports and the pins on it. So the Block 2 stack, we're going to have to make the modifications to it in order to get it to fly correctly. It's not that this is a particularly hard thing to do. The real thing that I'm like about right now is yeah, the real thing that I'm like that I'm fretting about is just this requires a lot of precision and logic, and I've already been streaming for 9 hours today. This is something we should probably do tomorrow morning when I have a fresh mind. I'm not even kidding. Like, I know it's like, bro, just play the freaking game. No, trust me. With this complicated of a mechanism, and don't get me wrong, the complication is self-inflicted, all right? It's me. I'm choosing to do this. Yeah, I would want to make sure I go at this with a fresh mind. Like, I want to make forward progress on this. I do not want to spend 5 months on this damn pad. And I still haven't solved the pad problems here, and I'm not sure how I'm going to get it to default to that. Like, how could we emulate the ground umbilical carrier plate? Hold on. I got an idea. We'll save this. The Block 2, CTS Block 2 is going to be the one that's designed fully around the Launchpad. So we'll just leave that craft file there for now, okay? Just leave that one there. So what we got to do is load up the prototype Launchpad, right? You got to load that up. Now what I'm going to do is merge it with the stack measurements craft file. Actually, no. We should merge it with Block 2. Just so I have the external tank. Take off the booster on both sides. Take them both off. Right? Remove the orbiter. Get rid of the orbiter. Now, what we need to do is we need to go 45 offset, and we need to attach to that docking port. So the ground umbilical carrier plate, if we're going to fudge this thing, Honestly, I'm just gonna put it at 45 degrees like this. Give it a docking port, at least initially, so we could figure out where this thing lives. And then take the ET. We need to set route to that. And then attach it. FIA tweet. An adjustment to the energy management parameters of qualifying at the Japanese GP. Qualifying this weekend has reduced from 9 megajoules to 8 megajoules. Oh, yeah, that's great, Hellfish. I don't care. Yeah, that's what we want. Let's just make the cars go slower. Great plan. Yeah, you know, that's what I want to see in Formula One. I want to see the cars go slower, not faster. You know, as one does. Why are they making F1 crappy? I don't know. Because, Nader, it seems like everybody that's in charge of anything nowadays that's even remotely cool has gotten, like, it into their mind to try to reduce the sport, or to maximize the appeal of the sport, and they do that by actually dumbing it down and making it worse. Just my opinion, though. Actually, it's not my opinion. That's not just my opinion. That's exactly what's happening. But whatever. I don't want to talk about racing right now, guys. I just said that this takes a lot of thought, so please bear with me, okay? I'm just gonna fudge this. This thing's just all gonna be floating in 3D space. Actually, most of the struts... Oh, yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. They all come in weird. Maybe if we set the fairings to solid, question? That they won't screw up? Crap. It ran most of them right. Those are the shuttle attachment struts. We're not going to need those. Yeah, it looks like it ran everything correctly. The strut lot, yeah, that's... The strut logic on the tank is very, very, very specific to transmit the loads through the stack correctly. Yeah, that's right. Starting work at ULA makes you appreciate this game more. Actually, Thaddeus, the way I learned how to make pads, and I taught myself a ton about GSE and how it all works, like how an LVOS works, dude. From this. Yeah. No, that's good. That's what it should do, dude. Like what they're doing during an LVOS operation, like that's really, yeah, learn that from this, man. Just saying, like, that's awesome though, man. Congratulations. You must be psyched. Also, slap Northrop Grumman across the face, please. Like, as hard as you can, Thad. Okay, the whole shebang bang needs to go down a little bit. I misclicked. '95. I saw you say this when I was on break. AFK. What's up? I was messing with my post Saturn Nova rocket and I'm simplifying it. It now keeps exploding on the pad. I found that if you turn on unbreakable joints upon loading the craft and then turn it off, everything performs perfectly. I wonder if the game doesn't actually turn unbreakable joints off, or is it just a physics easing issue? I never bothered to mess with unbreakable joints, dude. To be honest with you, I really don't know how that all works. Whatever, it's fudged, so it's not that big of a deal. To be honest, these are just marker points. So I know where to run the struts. Did you get the default control separation fixed? I'm gonna try to fix it right now, dude. What do you think about using flags to make the ET orange? I'd prefer to get this all working and just stick with my white tank for now. There's a fairing reskin thing that'll give you a tank texture. There's a fairing reskin mod out there that'll do that. I would consider that over using a ton of flags to make it look orange, dude. I'm just going to set the strut bar on the ET to root part just to make sure it doesn't fall out of place when we go to put this thing out on the pad. All right, so here we go. Okay, so what are we doing here? What's this test about? This test is to make sure that I can get a good default control point. Not necessarily default separation of the SRBs from the pad, but making sure I can get a default control point. Now, this should give me default control. Well, no, I mean, it really shouldn't, but maybe if I take the RGU off of this thing, and perhaps use a smaller probe, like other Launchpad designs that I used, I've noticed are using an octo and not a full RGU. So let's try that. And then what I want here is this. I mean, guys, there's no guarantees that this is going to work. This might blow up on the pad. In which case, you guys are going to see something pretty fun. That's going to be cool, right? 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 So what I'm going to do is we are going to separate one SRB, just like what we've been doing, right? We're going to separate one. Because technically how this stack is linked together now at this point is the external tank is attached on that umbilical. That fake gup thing that I made. It's attached on that umbilical, and that's completely, that's it. The external tank is attached to that. It's not actually attached to the SRBs. In order to get the SRBs to jive right with the external tank, right, I have to make it so my fake umbilical, my fake gup, is the last thing that touches this thing before it leaves the pad, right? So, yeah, that's going to prove to be a little bit difficult. Yeah, so I have to get this thing out there, and provided it doesn't blow up right away, it might. Provided it doesn't blow up right away, I need to undo the SRB, undo one SRB, get it to attach to the tank, undo the other SRB, get it to attach to the tank, and hopefully this thing stays together. If we can get it to do that, then I'm confident that we can get this to work. Now, the expectations for this test here, okay? What is my goal? My goal is to get this thing to separate as one contiguous unit. And my goal is, if it doesn't default control to the external tank during separation, which I have no reason to believe that it will yet, we're going to solve that with the shuttle on the side later, that when we do switch to this stack going up in the air, right, it will default control to the external tank, and I should be able to fly the thing into space. Well, not into space, we fly it up into the atmosphere. Once we get to staging and separation of the SRBs, it should not default control anymore to one SRB over the other. When we go to give the sequence separation call for the SRBs and they separate, it should default control to the external tank. That is what I'm aiming for here. That's what we are trying to do. It's not necessarily about, we're not trying to solve the control the vehicle as it leaves the pad problem right now. I'm trying to make sure that my control point logic is right at separation. Separation of the vehicle from the pad, and then separation of the SRBs. If we can kill those two birds kill those two birds. Two birds with one stone. If we can check those boxes today, I'll consider today a good stream. A successful stream in pushing this project forward. No. No good. I need to simulate the external tank being hung by a crane. How I'm going to do that? Struts to hold it up, because that umbilical is not enough to hold the thing up correctly. It's already twanging. Well, we know that we have that we know that it'll do that when we go to launch, which is good. That's nice. So, forward progress. I just got to get the external tank to hang. You got to get it to hang on those Kraken Tech, the Kraken Tech hinges, or the Kraken Tech thermal bearings that are up there. It's got to hang on it. If it doesn't hang on it, it's not going to work. Just like how we used the crane originally to hang the truss segment up there. We got to do that with the tank. So I'm going to disable those auto struts that we originally ran. And what we're going to do is just have 3x symmetry struts just going down here to hold this thing in place. That's all. That's all we need. That should work. Have you experimented with ground anchors? Would they be useful for pads? No. Ground anchors drift, 95. They drift. They drift around. It's not a lot, but they do. I find that just building a pad plate like this is usually the best idea.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Yeah, the ground anchors do drift. I tried to anchor one of these pads, the X33, my LV5A, the small X33. I tried to experiment with a ground anchor anchoring that pad. It doesn't work. The ground anchor just moves, and the pad moves over the terrain with it. And it just bends everything out of proportion. That was from my limited testing, so just take that into account. Hey, Balkans, what's going on, man? Long time no see. All right, let's try this again. Time warping doesn't snap it back into place. It doesn't seem to, no. I don't think I got that far in my testing, though. You'd have to check, dude. You were in Florida for the ULA Vulcan and Falcon 9 launch a little bit back. Crazy how bright they are at night. Lights up the sky, dude. Headed out to IMAX. Thanks for the movie recommendation. I just hope you guys believe me. I hope it's everything you're looking for, because I love that movie. Okay. There we go. The external tank is hanging, so we should be able to decouple those. Yeah, that's not great. Yeah, that's not great. That did not do what I wanted. Okay. Well, back to the old electronic brain. What movie? Project Hail Mary. No spoilers. In case anybody's there. Project Hail Mary, Wizard. Yeah. That's a really good flick, man. Like, if you want to go and you want to watch a good movie in the theater and, you know, Make it like, pretend like it, like movies from like the 2000s and stuff. This is the movie for that. This room's boring. Amaze. All right, let's try that again, but I will wait a second before we detach those struts. Or some auto struts on the on our fake ground umbilical carrier plate would work. So you think the lunar base will just be a shorter HLS? It's possible, 95. Yeah, it's possible that just a stubby starship could work. I had some other ideas that, frankly, are probably not going to happen, but I did have some other ideas that people, I don't know, I think would be cool that SpaceX could do just to piss everybody off. SpaceX could take the USDV. You could take the USDV, the ISS deorbit vehicle that they're working on, and you could make that into a lunar lander. Think about it, dude. Launch it on a Falcon Heavy. Have Falcon Heavy shoot that thing at the moon. Have it circularize into LLO, right? Don't say it doesn't have the Delta V. It has 50 meters a second Delta V when it's attached to the ISS. That's 400 tons of dry mass. You take into account a 20-ton launch vehicle, right? Subtract 400 tons away from its dry mass and then do the Delta V formula out. It has enough. Does it have the right engines for lunar landing and enough TWR? It uses clusters of Dracos, dude. Yeah, of course it does. Sure. Just fire more Dracos. Brother, it has enough TWR to move the ISS a significant, to deorbit the ISS. Of course it has enough. I think that would personally be really funny, but I don't think they'd do it. It would be funny, but they won't do that. All right, let's make sure we're hanging on the hinges. Like, people don't want to hear this. But, yeah, I think that would be pretty neat. You like the idea of using the USDV? Yeah, man, it's not bad when you think about it. Okay. No damping on that, but it is locked out, and this is all auto-strutted, so we should be able to disconnect those, and this thing should not lean over. Okay, so now the next thing to do would be to undock that. And then the next thing to do would be to do the same thing over here and hope that this whole thing doesn't blow up into oblivion. Well, she didn't explode, but the SRBs are not happy. It is docked, though, but we are not going to get very far when one of my SRBs is bent. Let's see if I can disable SVI here. Do that, and we'll see if we can knock that thing back into place. Nope. Oh, crap. I toggled it and it did it to the other side. Alright, that's not going to work. I'm going to stop before anything blows up. So I did get the SRBs to attach, but the thing is that, yeah, it's... We got to be careful. I just was watching an NSF countdown from earlier. They were hyping Flame Trench. I think the Flame Chasm is more correctly. Buckle up, yeah. Remind me what the idea of this Launchpad contraption is. Reusable shuttle pad, dude. The one that got away. I think I'm confident enough to do it. Yeah, Dan, it's leaning a little bit. How do we get this from leaning? How do we make that not happen? Right, Dan? Right? Right? That's what I'm saying, dude. Yeah. Sorry, it's just, yeah. Dude, Oh, Dan, you have no idea how much this drives me up the freaking wall, man. Like, I don't... Yeah. Would undoing the struts after you undock the SRBs stop the leaning? Yes. But, Michigan, where I'm at is, okay, so when we go to hang the external tank, like say I'm integrating this, I built a crane and my crane picks up the external tank. We drop the external tank into position. Right? How does that all work? How do we... Oh... Chris, you asked NSF if Alex was going to be on Flame Trench. I said it was going to be a fully loaded Flame Trench, so why not have a fully loaded cast? Is the weight sitting on those short cylinders below the SRBs? Yes, it is. That does work, at least with fully fueled SRBs. Thanks, Dan. All right. I don't know, Dean. I think... Oh, hold on. That's how those struts need to be run. There are some struts that weren't run correctly. Extraterrestre blocked them a day or two ago. Yeah, good call, man. Extraterrestre blocko. Chat is normal for you. It's not a bad idea, dude. ET could use some KS-25 so it could take off with it. Oh yeah, we'll just put 4 down there. It'll be so easy. That'll be so easy to fix, right? Right? Like, we should just do that, right? Right? Oh, wait. No? Yeah, we probably shouldn't do that. Okay. Congress said that was a good idea, yeah. I have to build a new gantry crane make to do something like that. It's totally in the realm of possibility. We could derive it from Freedom's crane, and it just... See, where I just ran into a problem is so we go to hang the external tank, right? We go to hang the ET. Now what? How do we know which docking port it's going to default control to? We'd have to somehow get this thing to attach to the stupid umbilical first. That's a problem. That's a problem. Or it might not be. Yeah, all right, let's just make sure that this can work. So let's try this again. I'll attach the SRBs before we detach the ET struts. JFC, finger licking good. Yeah, right. How should I send you a piston? Is your PO box addressed on a secret list somewhere? No, it's Dan. It should be in the Discord. If not, I may have gotten. Let's try that. See if that works. No, go over to Twitch chat and type that exact command that I just put in. Let me get this test done. Okay, so we hit 1. Pops everything into position. Okay, so undock that. Recouple the SRB. Undock that. Recoupled the SRB. Okay. Okay. Now. I don't understand why this thing wants to lean so much all of a sudden. Well, it popped it out of this. It popped it out of there, so. All right, Dan. Thanks, man. That's a clenchable lean, yeah. Okay, I can fix a couple of things here. It's it's the quick ground umbilical carrier plate that we made. I made it fast. The GUP umbilical. That's what's making it freak out. Let me see it again. Let me see it again. I don't think this will freak out as much. Wait a minute. Ooh. I think I understand why it's doing that. Please hold. Your call is important to us. Please stay on the line. The next available operator will be with you shortly. Yeah, I know why it's doing that. The external tank's full. See what I mean about doing this with a clear mind? I wouldn't have made that mistake if we did it tomorrow morning. If you're playing Kerbal by these rules, you don't really want to do that at this point in time. Good news is that we load tested it. We know it's going to work. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this thing out there with a full tank. I'm going to drain the external tank into the launch pad because the launch pad's made out of fuel tanks. And then we'll do our testing. And then, if it works, we'll fill the stupid thing back up and then send it into space. Oh, no. God, I'm an idiot. Does your shuttle use its flaps on re-entry? Not necessarily, RJ, no. I know the real one can do kind of a power slide through space. I usually just use RCS to do that. See last. What's up, Rev? Something about a vacuum booster? You just replaced the vacuum booster on your truck because the old one I could hear air escaping from around the shaft in the cab. I went to test the new reman unit. It does it too. Could there be another issue causing a leak or just a bad new part? Why did you replace the vacuum booster in your truck? He said why. So, Grab, were the brakes acting up or did you just hear a noise? That's more what I'm asking. Were the brakes working on your truck? Or did you just decide to replace a part because you thought it was broken? They were acting up. What were your brakes doing? What were your brakes doing? Spongy? Was the pedal not working? Was the pedal going to the floor? You know, you could have put some engines on this thing and had direct. Well, Hellfish, if I can get this shuttle logic figured out correctly, I don't need to do direct. Shuttle C, baby. Shouldn't be too hard if I can figure all the rest of this crap out. What I saw is true. Are we reboosting Hubble? No, Ivan, they're going to reboost the Swift satellite. They're going to reboost Swift, and they're going to use it to see the feasibility of boosting Hubble. So, not yes for sure, but possibly in the future. So Grab, tell me what your brakes were doing. Who got the Swift Boost contract? I have no idea, Mid. I'd have to go look. Dude, the amount of information that NASA info dumped yesterday, I'm still sifting through it. I got most of it. Most of it. I'm not sure who has that contract right now, though. Dude, I'm having trouble keeping up with all the damn info. I'm not even kidding. I had to stop the stream and actually do some homework to like go and read about everything. I rewatched the entire presentation yesterday because I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Okay, cool. How excited are you for multiple helis on Mars? Oh, dude, the Mars fall mission looks badass, man. And the fact that it's reusing PPE, I'm actually pretty happy. That's pretty cool. Anyway, let's get to the test. So root part that sucker, and root part the umbilical attachment. Okay, now hit 1, make sure the external tank is hanging from its struts. Yes, it is. It's hanging on both sides. Excellent. Now, undo the left SRB to redo its docking hierarchy. Okay, we're A-okay. Yep, she's in position. Now, the right-hand SRB. Undock that. It redocked into position up here. Let's verify that it's redocked on the upper ports. We have good verification of docking on both ports. Excellent. All right. Now, what we need to do is undo these struts, and we got to make sure that that tank can hang. Can the tank hang? Tank's hanging. Next step here is to get a Kerbal out, leave the scene, which might cause it to blow up when we get back. Get a Kerbal, run the attachment points. If we can run the attachment points, dudes, that's going to be a big milestone. That's a huge milestone in getting this to work correctly. Like, huge milestone. That's a big deal. Chris, you wanted to see a Starship with a shuttle-style cargo bay doors and a SpaceX multi-functional arm because America. Chris, you might get your wish, dude. Who do you think is going to get the contract for the nuclear shuttle? No idea. Yeah, man, our next step is to enter physics range at Mach 3, because you know Kerbal loves that. Just freaking whole thing just blows up. All right, I have to pump them when the truck is running and driving when doing it, so I hear air escaping when pressing the pedal. With the new unit, I can hear air leaking. I can hear it leaking air after pressure was built with my foot on the pedal, and because of this, I also think it's causing the engine to run poorly. If there's a vacuum leak, yes, it's going to run bad. Did you replace the master cylinder, Grav? Did you replace the master? Because it's possible that the master is leaking into the master's leaking into the diaphragm. A nuclear what? RJ, you need to go watch the NASA presentation. NASA is now working on SR1 Freedom. SR1 Freedom is the Gateway's power and propulsion element that is going to be repurposed into a nuclear electric Martian transfer vehicle. And what it's going to do, it's going to shoot off to Mars once it gets up into space. And when it gets near Mars, it's going to deploy a payload. And the payload's going to re-enter, heat shield's going to jettison, payload's going to come down. But inside of the aeroshell, instead of there being like a Curiosity or a Perseverance, inside the aeroshell is going to be a cluster bomb of Ingenuity style helicopters. Yeah. 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 Little bit out there. Maybe, Resi, yeah. I like the SR1 Freedom mission. I think that's super cool. However, it does kind of stand alone by itself, guys. I would say people aren't going to like hearing this, but I would say because that mission is so one-off and so bespoke and so standalone that it's very possible that it could get canceled in the future. There's no other program that depends on it. It's its own thing. It's not like a flagship mission either. 5, Ludo. So, good news, the external tank didn't explode. And also, it seems like leaving the scene and coming back also redocked my SRB docking ports. Interesting. Okay, cool. Kerbal's gonna sit here. Well, that's not great. Don't die. Don't die. He's all right. It didn't like it, guys. It was freaking out. Damn it. How did he not die? Lucky. Damn. Crap. Bill, it's possible, dude, but I'd be worried about that being low-hanging fruit for somebody to want to cancel because it doesn't really depend on anything else. But, yeah. Well, it obliterated the stack, which kind of sucks, but what are you gonna do? We didn't lose the Kerbal, so... I have to figure out how to keep the solar panels clean on the new Ingenuity helicopters this time. Yeah. I'm trying to think about how we should do this. What's tomorrow? Thursday? Yeah, Gravioli, I'd start looking around for leaks before you go replacing master cylinders or diaphragms or whatever, but you already placed the diaphragm. I'd go looking around for leaks. Remember that brake fluid needs to be periodically flushed, like every 10 years, 5 to 10 years. Brake fluid is hygroscopic. So eventually your brake fluid will degrade into nothing. Eventually, what happens is it'll decompose. Yes, that's the word for it. It'll decompose, and all that's left will be water in your brake lines, and then brake lines will rust from the inside out. So yeah, flush the brakes every 5, I'd say 5 to 10 years, but I would do it every 5. Yeah, flush the brakes and bleed them, dude. Remember, brake fluid should be clear. If you open up the bleeder nipple on your truck, right, and you go to bleed it, and what comes out looks like piss, you got a problem. You probably should flush it. Brake fluid's clear. It should be clear. It should look like water. If it's green or if it's piss colored, yeah, that's not going to work. Spray around the engine bay when it's running, and then when it revs, you know where the leak is. No, that's for a vacuum. Yeah, you could do that too if there's a vacuum leak. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Vert, I just try not to be that cynical about things, you know what I mean? I mean, Vert, for what it's worth, when I try to tell you guys about spaceflight policy and what I think should be done, I try to take that into account. I want the maximum amount of sustainability built into my program that can allow without being SLS, dude. SLS is maximum, is very politically stable. The problem is it doesn't do anything. I don't want that much political stability, but I don't want something like Apollo where you're going to launch a lot and then it's going to get canceled either, right? Hey, it's a double-edged sword. You live and die by the sword. The way I always see it, Verd, is that, look, there's a way to get this system, just like any other system, there's a way to get it to work for you. How do you get it to work for you? You look to Apollo or look to the space shuttle. Those would be where you get your clues. Water in your brake lines also boils, leading to a loss of brake pressure. That's correct. All right, guys. We're getting up on 10 o'clock here. I'm going to stop part 4. So, when we start part 5, I'm going to... Yeah, we got to figure out a way to fool the ground umbilical carrier plate, if that makes any sense. I got to really think about the integration procedure here, but that's something that I should do. Yeah, that's something we should be able to do. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a little weird, but it'd be okay. All right. Anybody down for some Battlefield? Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. I really shouldn't. We shouldn't. We shouldn't. We shouldn't. We shouldn't. I keep saying we shouldn't, but I'm still sitting here. The Launchpad take off this time. No. The Launchpad did not take off. I mitigated that mistake. All right. We'll play a couple rounds of Battlefield. Okay. So I'm going to jog the VOD over on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed part 4. We'll do, with part 5, I'll go at this with a little bit of a fresher mind, and we should be able to do it. Guys, I'll be honest with you. I want to do Factorio sometime this week, and I do want to play Cities sometime this week, but I also want to get this done. So perhaps what we'll do tomorrow is we'll do Cities in the morning. Oh, no. I was going to say do Cities in the morning, Space News, and then Kerbal. But it'd probably be better to flip that around. It'd probably be better to do Kerbal, Space News, and then Cities. And then on Friday, we do Factorio. I'll think about it. I will find a way to play all these games, I swear. All right. I'm going to jog the VOD. I'll be right back. Stand by for loss of signal as expected.